SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome students to the online NPTEL course Contemporary Architecture and Design. In the previous class we started discussing the tensile and shell structures, which comes under the where architecture was seen as a blend between form and function, where both the things were equally important, and there was the structural manifestation into the form was also there. So within that we have discussed there's a major movement was shell and tensile structure, which comes as a structural manifestation of two different new material, which is concrete and steel. So concrete was used in a different way as a shell structure, which is more dynamic and not just as a beam column and straight flat roof. So it was a shell, and a dynamic form of shell is covering the is acting as a roof. And in tensile structure, the tensile members were steel, and the steel tensile members, steel post, and the tensile steel members, which is hanging from the will hang from the post, will take the span of this building. So most of these cases the buildings were Olympic stadiums or different stadiums, museums, and places or the airports where there was large span of spaces were required. So we now we will discuss a few more examples from tensile structure. We have discussed shell structures example. We will discuss tensile structure, and then we will discuss what was happening in the design field, the industrial design field during this movement which was happening in the architecture. So if you look at this phase, so this phase is in this third phase of modernism, or the last phase of modernism, which is around 1950s it started, and this phase, and mostly the 1960s, 70s, and till 80s this got continued, and few of this style like neo-futurist style got carried forward into the postmodern style by a few of the postmodernist architect. Now this is the example of this particular style, and which got translated from this internationalist movement, and gradually form started becoming more complex and more dynamic. So from this rectilinearity of the form, so there was curves but pure geometric curves, and from there, and this where the form was important in monolithic, there was more curvilinearity and more dynamic forms in the shell and tensile structure. So we have discussed a few of these examples, how the shell and tensile structures were there, and then the architectural qualities, because it was a post-war architecture. That's why the curvilinearity and the dynamism can be constructed. And the building types we have already discussed, which requires more larger span, and this was the building types which started evolving after the post-world scenario. So a few of the examples from the tensile structures, we have discussed shell structure. So tensile structures, one of the famous architect was Frei Otto. So this is the Munich Olympic Stadium, which is designed in 1972 by Frei Otto. So if you look at, so this has a series of steel mast which is holding this roof form of this on the gallery. So gallery with this tensile members. So these are the tensile members you can see in this photograph, which is on top of this gallery. So here if you look at this green space of this, and the green garden is blended with the gallery's green seats. So these are actually the green seats of the gallery, which blends the same color combination, and this structure, this tensile structure acts as a fin and like a transparent and translucent membrane which is covering this green, otherwise green field, and to blend with this green field, all the seats of this stadium was also taken in the same tone of the green color, and this is acting as just as a translucent glass member. So all this glass panels were on top of this steel structure, and this gives a very translucent feeling, and all this light will come from the top. Now there is another example which is again designed by Eero Saarinen, whose examples we have seen in the shell structure like Dallas airport and TW airport in Washington and New York. So this is the hockey ring in Yale University, and because of this shape it was called Yale whale, and because it looks like a whale. And if you look at the tensile the structural thing in this design, so if you will see this arch is going like this, and from this arch all these tensile steel members are taking the supporting this roof of this hockey ring. Another example is again designed by Eero Saarinen, is within this tensile structure. So if you look at the how it has been constructed, so you will see the tensile steel members are there, and then there was a covering material on top, and also you will see the glass curtain wall, which is the giving the feeling of the new age design is there. So this is in this is the auditorium in the MIT, which is designed in 1955 in the similar timeline. So this is a Florida house designed by Paul Rudolph in 1950s. This is a temporary house, and then it got dismantled. So here the steel members are, this is the main steel members, this is the roof, and from this steel member, this floor of this roof is floor of this house is getting hanged from this steel member. So this is the structural members. From here a tensile member is supporting this roof. So this roof is getting supporting this floor. So this floor is getting supported by this member. So another example of tensile and tensile structure is Sydney Mayer Music Ball, which was this picture has been shown earlier. This is designed by Barry Patton, and this is in Sydney, and almost in the similar time frame, 1959 it was designed. So if you look at, so there's this steel masts are taking the load of all this this membrane. If you look the design of this, so this looks like from this green patch of this of this greenery, one particular members. So these two steel members are just taking members away from this green patch. So this steel members are just lifting this members out of this green field. So it looks like there was a continuous green field, but this two steel members are lifting this members from the top, and the galleries are going down from this same field. So this field is visually is not disturbed, and this field from this field the galleries are going down, and just like a member is coming out of this particular this field. And if you look at this other structural elements, from this there was two main rods which are supporting this members, which is these two, and then another steel tensile members are holding these two rods together, and then there is a fabric which is covering this, acting as a covering material, and which is covering the gallery as acting as a roof of this gallery. Now another famous example of this tensile structure is Kenjo Tange's Olympic Stadium, which is in Tokyo, in designed in 1964, around on the similar time frame. So there was two stadium of similar design, and here these two tensile two mast which is taking the load, and from there the tensile members are passing through, and between two masts there is again another member which is in tension and taking this load and acting as a acting as a roof of this Olympic stadium. So most of the cases we are seeing the Olympic stadiums, airports, and the other kind of buildings which has to take the larger span is acting as a the tensile structures and the shell structures are used. Now, during this phase which is happening in the architecture, there was a streamlining in design which was has a similar design and visual principles. So we have discussed, we just mentioned streamline before when we are discussing internationalist movement, because from the internationalist movement, monolithic and neo-futurist shell and tensile structures evolved, and from this internationalist movement of product design or furniture design and in industrial design, industrial design's streamlining evolved. So this is Corbusier's design. This is Barcelona chair by Mies van der Rohe, which falls under internationalist movement, where the rectilinearity is there, and the steel is used as its own material beauty, and the black color is black, white, and those particular colors were used. Now from here, quite in a similar tone, there was a and lot of similarity in the visual style will also be seen in the in this design. Even in the, if you think about this streamlining in new futurist style, the white color is used, and then concrete was used as a exposed concrete. There was no different colors were used in the previous examples what we have discussed, and in TWA terminus, in Calatrava's design, in Frey Otto's design, the material was used as the material. So some continuity was definitely there from the international style, but the form got more curvilinear. So some of the examples like this form by Corbusier's, this reclining chair, there was curvilinearity, but this is a part of this is a cylinder, and this is just given as a shape from this ergonomic shape, but this is also has a lot of rectilinearity into it, and this is supported by a pure semicircle. But here in this streamlining, there was more fluidity in the curve, and the curve was more biomorphic, and more dynamic forms were there, and this curve came from the function and the fluid. Sometimes aerodynamics was used, sometimes ergonomics was used to generate these forms. So if we discuss the design features of the streamlining, so there was a fluid dynamic line was there, which is not part of the internationalist furniture design. So there was no fluid dynamic line. So there are some lines, but this is mostly they're trying to fit into this pure geometric form. For example, this is a semicircle, this is also a semicircle, and there's a little blend into the curve, but in the streamlining there were more dynamic forms, and there was no pure geometric curve. And machine aesthetic is there, which was taken from this internationalist movement. Ergonomics, aerodynamics, and other principles were used in product design, automobile design to achieve the curvilinearity. And sometimes it is just for aesthetics. Sometimes this ergonomics or taking the human body, the ease of use into consideration, and sometimes the aerodynamics into for the automobile design was taken into consideration to create the shape of this car, but sometimes it was just for aesthetics, the car was designed, and function is blended with the aesthetics. So if we look at this iron machine, so this curve is giving the helping will help the user to hold this iron in a with a better grip, and with this all these lines are getting fused with each other and creating this shape of this iron. So all these forms and giving a dynamic motion of the dynamic movement of this form. So this form could have been more static if it was designed like this, but because of this curve it is getting more dynamic approach, and because these two lines are getting fused together and there was a directional sense of direction in this line, so there is more dynamism in the form. And if you look at this automobile, this has a lot of dynamism in this form, so and it has a curve which is passing from the end to end of this curve, and all these lines and curves are fused together to get this form. And if you look at some other designs of this car and also this design, so aerodynamic principles were used to achieve this shape of this car. Now also this style of design was there in the architecture. So this is a Daily Express building in Manchester, UK, designed by Owen Williams. So this is a streamlining architecture, and in this building if you look at, so all these lines are getting fused, so there is no particular edge in the building. So all these wherever the edges are coming, this is a streamline, or the chamfering is the curvilinear chamfering is happening all over the edges in the building. And also if you look at the building, this building is from its glass curtain wall, or this glass cladding of this building is giving the machine aesthetics, and this similar color tone is used in this building. There are few other examples of this streamlining in architecture which has a similarity with the streamlining in the product design because of the similar concept. So Rem-Weber's lounge chair is one of the famous example of streamlining. So all this supporting element, handrest, is blended together and creating a curvilinear pattern which is not a geometric curve. Now which is getting repeated over here, but if you look at this colors and the textures which are used, which has a lot of similarity with the internationalist movement, but not all but sometimes the colors and textures were also there was jazzy colors and textures were added. For example, there was a Pantone chair which we have shown earlier, so which is falling under the streamlining phases. The Pantone chair also falls the because of this curve which is falling which is designed for the ergonomics of this of human body posture, but this curve is also just for aesthetics. And this Pantone chair comes in black, white, black and white, and as well as different colors like orange and red and other colors. This is one pedestrian armchair which is also called tulip chair because of the form of the chair. It has a one single pedestal and designed by Eero Saarinen, who was one of the pioneering architect in shell structure. So also there's a red color used, but mostly it is just the main structure is white. Red is just the cushion, which is also there in some of the streamlining. There's design, there was different colors are used, which has a connection with the postmodern movement, where postmodern movement will see a lot of colors are coming into this movement. So there was one side, there was this internationalist movement's influence, which was white, black, and the pure texture of the material. And then on the other side, they were started getting more experimental, and which led to the postmodern movement. Now also there's Noguchi's work we have shown earlier, the Noguchi table, which has a curvilinear form, and then there was two supporting members which also has a curvilinear form, also kind of falls under the streamlining form. So there's another movement which is also similar, and it can be on the same parallel movement, which is called blobism, which where the form is becoming like a blob or blob-like thing, or amoeboid biomorphic shape, and with fluid curvilinear, continuous curvilinear form, and this is called blobism in design, and whenever it applied in architecture, this is called blobitecture. So it's a blob-like dynamic curvilinear continuous form. So this is designed by Norman Foster, was one of the famous architect in the postmodern movement. So these are the continuation of streamlining into the postmodern movement. So these all examples of blobitectures are taken from the streamlining, but mostly this is postmodern. The philosophy is a little different. So it is not just streamlining based on ergonomics. So this looks like a blob or the amoeboid shape or the some it's like a balloon like structure. So this is a sage gate shed building by Norman Foster, designed quite late in quite after within the postmodern era, and it looks like, if you look at the form, it looks like a water-filled blob of a member which is like amoeba, and this is a cloud which is a famous sculpture by Anish Kapoor, which is in Chicago. This is just reflecting the Chicago skyline into the cloud like structure. So here also this cloud like structure within, if you can go inside, so this is like a mirror, and twisted concave and convex mirror which shows the Chicago skyline, is also falls under the blobism. And here in this product design also we will see this blob like chair is designed, which has a similarity from the streamlining, but it's quite different, and aesthetic is more exaggerated than the functional ergonomics or aerodynamics. So that's why it's in postmodern style, but this is a continuation from the streamlining style. So the next class will discuss the other phases of the third phase modernism, which is brutalism, and we will discuss the buildings of brutalism, and later we will discuss the metabolism, which is the another phases of last part of this modernism. So brutalism and metabolism was the end of modernist movement, and then the postmodern architectural style started. Thank you.